Hey guys, so today I flew from the Bay at San Francisco back to Boston in order to attend a high school reunion. I went to a pretty, I don't want to say prestigious, but a pretty bougie private school. So they have like 5 year reunions every 5 years, or like every year for all classes. Um, Not really for people to meet each other, but really for the purpose of donations and, getting people to donate their money to increase their endowment. And so this year is actually our first reunion. It's our 10th reunion because our 5 year reunion I'm class of 2016, so it was in 2021. So that was canceled due to COVID. And so this is the first time I've seen a lot of my classmates in 10 years since I graduated. And so before I went to reunion, I actually was seriously thinking of not going. I didn't feel like going. I wasn't confident in my ability to socialize, and I wanted to spend more time, like reflecting on myself, um or just, vlogging my own thoughts. But I was inspired by a couple of videos in the past week about how people, this one video where the best time to try is now. It's a cliche advice, it's a cliche saying, but it really struck me because I think a lot of times we're often afraid of doing something. For example, me, I did have a certain inclination to go and see my classmates. I mean, I haven't seen them in 10 years, and my high school experience wasn't the worst. So I had decently positive feelings towards high school, but my fear of just being cringe or being slow during socialization made me not want to go. So last night at literally 11 p.m., I decided, F it, I'm gonna, I'm going to just do it because I have a deep feeling inside of me that I want to go, but it's this rationalization inside of me that's telling me not to go, to stay safe and to just keep working on it. But literally in the video, the creator Val, she says, some she says we use perfection as an excuse to not do things, and we only do things when we feel we're absolutely ready, when really that's just a punishment, a sort of reaction out of fear, and has nothing to do with readiness or not. And I felt personally attacked by that, but it was really good hearing that from someone else rather than constantly telling yourself that, because you might not listen to your own advice, but hearing someone else say it, you really absorb it more. And I booked the flight, and so the next morning I got up at 5:30 a.m. and took an Uber to SFO. The driver spoke. I wanted to just talk to the driver, but the driver spoke Spanish, so I couldn't really get many words out. I just said stuff like "Buenos dias" and "Vamos a la aeropuerto." It was like "CC," but that was about it. So it was it was fine. But when I got on the plane, I sat next to a woman who was also going to a reunion for something else in New Hampshire, and I tried to talk to her. She was like a white woman in her 40s, I think, and she was decently attractive, and she had pink hair and stuff like that. So I expected her to kind of be stuck up, but when I first like talked to her, and I literally just said like you get here earlier than me because she was already sitting down by the time I sat down. Just a casual remark. She seemed a bit surprised and sort of like was a bit ruffled, or not in a bad way, but not as collected and stuck up as I thought it would be. So I tried to continue the conversation, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in group 6," and she said I was in the same group, and then I said, "Oh, I just didn't stand up fast enough," and I said it in that sort of cadence, and she just sort of didn't really respond, and that was it in the conversation. And something died inside of me at that point, but you know, I guess I just wanted to talk and talk about things. And after the, right after the conversation ends, you go back and you think of like, oh, I could have said this to make it more interesting. I was too generic. I could have this made this more detailed and stuff like that. And I nowadays I just tell myself like, you just feel bad. That's it. You know you could have done better, but you want to talk more. And throughout the flight, I try to make conversation here and there about her trip to New Hampshire, or I was doing a crossword, so I asked for some help. Our conversations never lasted more than 2 minutes at most, and it was clear I didn't have enough charisma or charm to keep it going. She was quite bored of what I was saying, but I think in the past I would have really looked down on myself and sort of confirmed how little charm I had and how little pull I had. But I don't know. I think things are changing where I just want to feel an enjoyment when I talk to people. And I think when I talk to people, I have the sense that I want to do it again. I want to keep trying it. I like sharing my ideas. I like sharing my experiences. And I had that feeling afterwards. I felt like I had more to say, and that was important. So later on in the day, I had a reunion with my high school, like pre-reunion actually. That's how bougie this place is. We had a pre-reunion at a bar in Fenway, uh, in Boston, and only 20 people showed up out of a class of 120. And it was fun to say hi to some people. And there's this really funny dude who I started talking to again. He reminded me of how funny he was, all his remarks and quips and stuff like that. And I had a really fun time talking to him. But it wasn't as fun, or it's kind of awkward talking to other people because I felt like there's a lot of this high energy amongst these people, especially on the East Coast, or not really on the East Coast, but it's sort of hard to be a Debbie Downer in these sort of social events. So you have to kind of hype yourself up and stuff like that. And there was I felt a lot of components in my life weren't that interesting. And so at points it got awkward and there wasn't much to talk about. And it was clear I wasn't really that important or popular, but I don't think that was the point. I think after I left, I said hi to everyone. I talked to a lot of people, and even though it felt that some of the conversations just didn't really go anywhere, and it was just more politeness, and that feeling when you're talking to someone and then their smile slowly drains from their face, and you're just dying inside, like, oh my god, like destroy me now or something like that. So I saw that happen a couple times, and I left in okay spirits, but I think there was something missing when I got home. I felt like I could have done better, and I wish I could have mm, made a better impact on people, you know. And I was feeling kind of down, and so I started watching YouTube and looking at vlogs again, and there were a lot of positive, really inspiring people who I watched. There was this one girl in particular who talked about how authenticity is a lot more difficult than you think. And to me, that spoke so truly to what I felt, because I felt I wasn't saying the things that I wanted to say. I wasn't hitting the marks. I was always felt just blanking at certain things. And, maybe that's my skill level, but it's not the skill level I want to be at. And to me, it's really hard to be my true authentic self. And listening to her talk, it made me feel more hopeful about the future. It made me feel that there are other people struggling with this, and that by her vlogging, she was expressing herself and practicing authenticity like I am now. And hearing that, it lightened my mood. It really brightened my mood. And, coming back to the very topic of this video, which is, it doesn't matter if you have no rizz. I think without rizz or charm, it can be very depressing talking to people, especially members of the opposite sex, because it feels like you have no sway on their feelings or anything. It can feel cosmically dreadful, like you're just screaming into the void and no one is answering, and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to improve, because you can't. I don't know. It's really, your intuition isn't fast enough, and it's not working enough, and you can just feel you're pulling your hair out, and your progress isn't fast enough, and you can't feel the progress. So it can be really frustrating. But I guess it doesn't matter, because we're all out here, we're all struggling, and we're all trying to be authentic and trying to improve our self-expression, and we have this outlet to talk and to share our own feelings about what it's like not being able to do that. And I think that at least gives me hope. And so it doesn't matter if you don't have rizz, and if you're still struggling out there. Like, we're out here. We're out here, man. We're out here struggling. We're trying to fight. So that's all I want to say.